Hello, everyone. Welcome to Relentless Phoenix Podcast. My name is Yane, aka Yaya, where we discuss all things mental health. If you have been following me thus far, you already know that I've been through a lot of traumatic experiences in my life. And now I am a life coach, helping others take charge of their adversities so they won't get unstuck. Starting with a podcast for me was not only to help me record my journey of enlightenment, but it's also to shine a light on remembering your purpose and your identity that you have inside of you. So you're going to come along with me on the different things that I had to overcome in my journey and hopes in return that you will learn something from the challenges that I had to face and how I overcame it. For those that are new, thank you for coming. Please like and subscribe if it sounds like this is something that you're interested in. Without further ado, let's get into the topic. And the topic is self love, part two of self doubt. And we're going to dive deep more into self love and how we can embrace it. I will be sharing a lot of helpful tips and tricks that I use to start my process of practicing self love. And then I'm going to also give you a lot of tips and tricks on what to do when you're actually practicing them. So, in order to get on the same wavelength or the same page as me to have a good understanding of what I believe self love is, we can have that understanding. I want to give the definition. And for me, self love is the ability to forgive, accept, and support oneself while balancing empathy and boundaries to promote a healthy mindset. So once again, self-love for me is the ability to forgive, accept, and support oneself while balancing empathy and boundaries to support a healthy and whole mindset. Simply put, it is do unto others as you wish others to do unto you. That's how we make this world go round by producing the same results that we want inside of us. And when it comes down to self love, we have to think about a couple of things in that definition. Self acceptance. We have to be okay with who we are. We have to be okay with our flaws. We can't even start to practice self love practices or tools and stuff and such if we're not okay with what we see in the mirror. We have a lot of flaws, and it's important to accept those aspects of us if we're willing to start the process of self love. When it comes down to forgiveness, that is another thing that we have to start in order to be on the other side and say, I really do and love myself. I'm embodying who I am, which is just being a human that's going through a lot of trials and tribulations and learning from it. You have to forgive yourself. We cannot make mistakes and be filled with regret because that's not promoting a healthy and whole mindset. So for when forgiveness comes in, it's twofold. One is happening when you are forgiving yourself. That's one of the hardest ways to deal with forgiveness. And the other one is when you have to forgive others. Both have a common theme, and the whole common theme when it comes down to forgiveness is that it doesn't make you compliant to what happened to you or through you. So we have to be okay with forgiving others and ourselves. We have to have that word that called grace. Yeah, we definitely need that. I did a lot of not forgiving myself when it came to certain situations because I wasn't aware that I had to take accountability to understand that I may have contributed to some of the self sabotaging that was in my life. It's called self-sabotaging for a reason, right? No one did it. You made choices and you have to come in term with those choices, accountability, and then you have to be okay with giving yourself grace and learning from it. And the same thing with others. If someone hurts you, you have to give them that grace to do that. Also, when it comes down to self love, when it comes to forgiveness, it also reduces the stress of success, and it helps you grow faster as well because during the cycle of getting to a goal, there are going to be some trial and errors and some mishaps. So you have to have forgiveness, a grace, or give yourself that peace or space and opportunity, whatever you want to call it, to mess up and learn. So forgiveness and grace both plays in hand in hand. That's why I added into the definition before you can even try to promote a healthy mindset, you have to first do a lot of self acceptance, who you are, and it comes along with forgiveness and grace. The other thing is, before we even try to practice self love, we have to discuss our own experiences when it comes to our journey. We can't be so closed minded when we have to be more self reflective. And the same thing when it came down to me when I was in school. I know I tell this story all the time. When I was in college, I didn't really discuss my experiences. I thought my experience was very one off, very isolated situation. I was riddled with fear and anxiety and depression. I was going to drop out of college. I really didn't have a lot of positive environment or positive atmosphere around me to even start the process of growing through my forgiveness or allowing myself the freedom to have grace and make mistakes. I didn't accept that. I was really a harsh critic to myself, which is not promoting a healthy mindset. Good thing I didn't graduate because I see the fruit of really believing in myself. Um, it took 5 years to graduate, but in that moment, it was some long 5 years. You know, if anyone had heard my story before, you will understand that I didn't come from a supportive background. I came from a very traumatic background that spoke negativity in my life. So I kind of embodied those negative aspects of, what others were saying. I kind of took it in. So I had to challenge those negative self thinking that I thought that was my own thoughts, but it was thoughts of others. And I had to really challenge all of that. And when I came down to it, it's like I really allowed some of what they were saying to seep inside of me. That wasn't self love. That was really self sabotaging. Like I said, sometimes we don't know that we're doing that because we're in this tornado. So I have to come to terms and stop all of that and really just understand where some of those feelings was coming from. Once I did, I acknowledged them, which is self acceptance. Okay, I'm not perfect. I make a mistake. But now, as I make a mistake, what do I do? Acknowledging that there was a mistake made, forgiveness and grace. You see they see how there's some stepping stools before you can even get to a full embodiment of self love. You have to come with some self reflection first before we can get to that point. So it comes with self acceptance. You want to self love, want to be full of self love, accept yourself first. Once you can come to terms with the true nature of who you are, which is just a human that makes mistakes and going through life and trying to tackle those life challenges and find those healthy coping mechanisms, and when it didn't happen and you come to the realization that there's certain things that could have been adjusted in your life to promote a better way of living, you have to forgive, you have to have grace, because outpours that comes learning, because you're not hard on yourself, you're not being your worst critic, and then once you get to that point, you can start with transitioning into just being a healthier human being and learning from your experiences, especially me. I had to open my eyes up to a lot of things that was going on around me. Once I started to see that this world is not so black and white, because that was the lens I was in. Either you're a good individual, or you're a bad individual. Once I started to see that everyone is complex, everyone is not perfect. I say this a lot to my clients in life coaching. Saying you want to be perfect or have everything together, and also acknowledging you're human is an oxymoron. Humans are not perfect. So I had to come to terms with a lot of that before I can even say, okay, now I'm on this journey of self love, because you can't get to the journey of self love if you're in the dark, about yourself or others. You can't get to that journey because the only thing you're doing is spinning yourself in a circle constantly and trying to get out of that circle. But there's a thread, and that thread is the things that I listed before. In order to get to the other side, to start to get to the other side, you have to forgive. You have to come to terms with self acceptance and be okay with acknowledging that you have a journey that's filled with a lot of probably traumatic experiences as well, or just some challenging adversities that you didn't grow from, or you try to grow from it, but it didn't take that moment. It's okay. Life happens, and we have to just keep practicing it over and over again, right? And in order, so now we have that, right? We have that, those aspects of what self love is, how to start, having those boundaries, or to start having some type of stepping stools of what it looks like, some tools of what it looks like to start practicing it, right? Now, in order to grow through, self love, now that we have those things in our back pocket, have an understanding of what it looks like to start the process. We now I want to share the practices, the self love practices that I use in my daily life up until this point in order to ground myself on continuing that growth of enlightenment and really flourish. The first one is a biggie for me, and that's self love. Self love, like I said before, when it comes down forgiveness, excuse me, not self love. I'm sorry, self awareness. Like I said before, when it comes down to forgiveness, you have to forgive yourself and others for the experiences that you had to go through and interacted with. The same thing when it comes down to self love. You have to meet self awareness, self awareness for yourself and the world around you and everyone around you. You have to take note that everyone, like I said before, is not going to be perfect. So therefore, there's a lot of grace that you have to have for others as well. Um, Sometimes self-awareness asks you to be open-minded to certain things that goes on and how you interact with it, how your body interact with it, how others interacting with you. It sounds like a hard work to be constantly at least 90% or 80% self-aware, but it's not. Once you start to get into the groove of being consistent with being aware of every part of your body, next thing you know, when you wake up, it's going to be a natural thing, an innate thing for you. So being self-aware of what's going on with you, what's going on around you, how interacting are individuals with you, how interacting are you with your environment, understanding that not everyone is perfect and they're going to be flawed as well. Not put individuals that you hold with a title of esteem like mom and dad and sister and aunt, uncle, teacher, not having them at a pedestal, because when you start to do that, you're not self-aware that they imperfect. You're not self-aware at all. So when they start falling down from that illusion that you placed them in, because you wasn't self-aware that they was imperfect, you start to be disappointed. That doesn't promote a healthy mindset, because now you're latched on to a certain title that they should fulfill, or a certain thought that you had upon them that they didn't have upon themselves. You know what I mean? So we have to be okay with understanding the dynamic and the complexity of humans daily, moment by moment. We're distracted too much externally when we need to be focused internally so we can and we all breathing techniques, being okay with just being. Like I said before, we're distracted. So just being okay with just sitting for a moment, being okay with just breathing, inhaling, exhaling, being okay with just being and not moving, being aware of why your body can't sit still, being aware of the thoughts that comes into your head when you're just sitting still. So that's a lot of self-awareness when it comes externally, sitting still and letting what may be come and interacting with it. Why this thought came up? Why this random thought came up? So a lot of self-awareness when it comes to self-love, because when you start to that have a lot of self awareness, you start to self reflect. You start to engage in a way that you didn't really think you can engage with yourself in this world. You start open up your mind, having epiphanies if you're really self reflecting and really meditating. You start opening up your mind and really changing up your reality, because your perspective is starting to change through wisdom. Wisdom is all about learning from your experiences. And through wisdom, that's the only way you're going to be wise, by falling and getting back up, by making a mistake and learning from it. How aware are you going to be when certain things come up? How triggered are you going to be with a stressor to the point where you stop forgetting how to respond to the situation and not get yourself so distracted with the stressor that you respond in a healthy mind state. That's all about self awareness, stopping your body from reacting, which is a very difficult task. A very difficult task. Not at all, because there's a lot of things in our brain, coping mechanisms, negative self talk, limiting beliefs. A lot of that can definitely come into play with being your authentic self. The self awareness in some of that can try to intervene so you can have that positive mindset and wholeness that you want. But to start with being self awareness, then it outpours wisdom, and then it comes with growth. There's a chain reaction. Um, Also, self awareness also has to do with being able to understand where you end and where they begin. Those are more in line with having boundaries, but self awareness starts that boundary aspect of this is who I am. I did a lot of self reflection. I did a lot of meditation. This is who I am. So I know that I can't be swayed left or right by strangers or those that doesn't mean me well. So I know where I end at when it comes to certain situations, and I know where they should be at. There's boundaries, there's a line that shouldn't be crossed when it comes to my wholeness, my peace, my promoting my healthy mindset. So being self-aware of who you are and how you fit into this world actually matters to promote that self-love that you wish to see within yourself. Also, when it comes to self-love, being aware of being given back, that's also uh a piece of self-love as well, especially giving back. I want to speak about that a little bit. For me, I feel like giving back is you're like a piece to a puzzle. That's how I feel giving back is. You're like a piece to a puzzle. You may not fit in the corners, you may not fit in the middle, but you fit somewhere perfectly in that piece to the puzzle. The puzzle is the community, and you're an influence to that community. You make the puzzle whole by being 1% of that puzzle. And exactly the same thing when it comes down to you affecting the community affecting you. You are your environment, and the environment is a part of you and a part of everyone else. You affect the world the same way the world affects you. Self love, self love is not only an internal thing; it's an external thing. Like I said before, in order to do for yourself internally to see the benefits of your growth, it's an outpour that you want to help someone else do the exact same thing. How you wish the world to become starts with you. So now that you're starting to grow, you want to give back. You want to be grateful for the fact that you actually learned through this and don't want others to go through it. You start finding your belonging, your peace. Like Michael Jackson says, we are the world. It's the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. I can't really sing, but you got the message from Michael Jackson, right? I love that guy, by the way. Um, but yes, just like Michael Jackson have always said, in those songs, that we have to be reflective of what we wish to see. You want that self love. You want to grow within self love. The giving back helps that. And when you're at that point of why does self love benefits me if I'm giving back, because self love is not selfish. Self love is not selfish. We and I'm spiritual, so we have energy, and what we put out into the world we get back. So you want self love, you have to give it out. Self love is not selfish. We are domino effects. We are the chain reaction we wish to see in this world. It all starts with us. And if you don't love yourself, you can't expect others to. So the world is really a 360. In order to embody, I feel really in my own, and I have so much of growth to do. I want to help others. Or I'm over, certain things that I've been through. For me, for example, now I want to give back, and giving back allows your environment to give back to you. The gratefulness that I was speaking about, it definitely helped, because you're feeling like you actually did something. And you're like, wow, I really changed that individual's life because of my story, my outcomes. What I thought was my shortcomings was nothing. It was just more of a trajectory, a propellant to get me to help someone else, because I'm speaking about my story. I'm trying to find purpose and belonging. When you have someone be grateful for the things that you have done, it builds up your self love. It's like, wow, I no longer feel self doubt or low confidence, because here is someone who I'm actually helping, and I'm reaping the benefits of it because I see the growth within them. and you start empowering yourself, that you actually making a difference. You actually are doing something to benefit yourself in this world. You're finding a purpose. You find that identity. Without doing that, you're going to be lost. Because at the end of the day, you want to feel connected. You want to feel connected. That's part of self love. You don't want to distance yourself away. You want to be connected with like minded individuals. You want that. And for me personally, I feel like this whole world has a green thumb to the world. Every human has a green thumb to help this world grow. That's how I personally feel. Giving back provides hope, thankfulness, gratitude, like I said, to you. You will want to embody what you want to see in this world. That's all about self love. And in return, it provides, like I said, provides a connection. You're around individuals that you connect with. You're around a community that you feel like you're the missing piece to that puzzle. You fit in seamlessly, especially when things get rough. You will want to have a community where you can fall back on when things get rough. It builds you up. It reminds you. It puts you in that healthy, positive self-talk instead of negative self-talk and doubt. It's not coming from a void of lack. It's not coming from a void of insecurities. It's coming from being part of a community that's giving back to you and building your confidence up. Because in return, it changes your perspective. It's so much of a, like I said, not an internal thing. It's really more of both internal and external when it comes to self love. You know what I mean? You are the product in your environment. The environment, the product of you. How you perceive the world is coming from a different lens than somebody else. You can help that. You can change that. We all a domino effect, and that domino effect will be 360 come right back down to you if you give out that same energy. So it's all about just giving back and filling yourself up. Self love is never selfish. The next thing is when it comes down to, I mentioned boundaries a little bit when it comes to self awareness, but I want to piggyback off just a little bit of that 'cause I think is really important. Don't let anyone walk over you. Simply put, like I said, have those boundaries. Those healthy boundaries can definitely um, help you stay focused on your goals, help you stay focused on who you want around your environment. My friends and family say that I'm the queen of blocking, blocking someone and like forgetting. I'm really like that, out of sight, out of mind. If my environment is not positive, I don't want any parts of it. I have to change that up. If I want to promote a healthy whole mindset, I have to be careful of my environment because I'm going to be interacting with it and it is going to influence me because my say being around difficult friends or friends that are not good for you, it doesn't show who you are. It does because you're allowing certain things to infiltrate because that's what it's doing. Your peace of mind and sanity. You're not promoting the healthy mindset, positive, successful, just healthy overall wholeness. You're not promoting that. With a lot of different things. They don't got to be just, friends that, maybe on the wrong side of the tracks because I had that. But at the same time, you have to know when you grow, you can't bring others with you. So knowing how to not let anyone walk over you as you grow into your self love. Um, because if you really love them, you have those emotional connections with them, it can sway you. It can sway you and it can lose your interest in a lot of different things that's supposed to be promoting a healthy mindset of self love. So you want to build up self love. It won't be, especially in the beginning. These are beginning steps I'm saying, especially in the beginning, if you're trying to be like, you know what, I want to build up more self love for myself. Being around a negative environment is not going to help you, regardless if you be like, you know what, that's my sister. That is an emotional connection that you have. That's probably a very unhealthy emotional connection that you have towards someone, especially when they don't have your best interest at mind or heart. I had to cut a lot of individuals off because of that. If you don't have my best interest at the heart of who you are, I can't have you around because I'm trying to go in the right direction and you're pulling me into the wrong direction. So having boundaries is very important to growing your self love because you want to have that space and opportunity to do that. Not have space and opportunity that's shrinking your and limiting you to not have a healthy, positive, whole mindset. Another thing when it comes down to boundaries, being able to be okay with saying no. I can't stress that enough. There is freedom in saying no. because we need to practice a healthy habits of not stretching ourselves thin, not being overly used or just used in general, not being abused, because nice individuals get the we don't get to laugh about what happens to us. We don't get that. We don't get to feel, you know, you caused a lot of hurt for us. They're, like I said before, when it comes down to forgiveness, they're not sleeping good at night when it comes down to, forgiving them. But forgiveness is dealing with a lot with this, because when you can't say no or you don't have boundaries, someone do you wrong, that's where forgiveness comes into play at, and say, hey, I forgive you for what you have done, but I will no longer be around you. So this is a no. I'm okay with that. You hurt me in a way and you crossed my boundaries in a way, or you was pushy in a way that divided where I end at and where you begin. You cross that over. I stop here. You don't pass that line. This is where I stop at my healthy boundaries. So I'm going to say no. And if you're not okay with that, then you're not okay with that. It's a you issue. It's like a problem with you, that you're not okay with rejection, or you're not okay with no. And we have to be okay with that, because that promotes self love as well. It doesn't promote a positive, coping mechanism by always being a yes individual. It doesn't. And I was like that in high school and in college, beginning of college, and it didn't do anything for my identity, my purpose, or my self love, because only thing that did was me being a yes individual or having individuals mold me, is the hint that I just gave you. It molded me. It didn't grow me. It molded me to somebody or someone that they prefer, because I didn't say no. I allowed them to do what they wanted to do, because I thought they was right, or the emotional connection I had with them. But when I had to take away the emotional connection, it left me with a lot of lack and void and confusion of who I am. Especially when those I had to sever those ties, I was left finding myself, because I didn't have boundaries of saying no. I didn't have boundaries of promoting that healthy mindset of love, saying I'm going to take care of myself. I don't want you to let me know how I should be in this world. So I didn't have those things. But when I start being okay with no, and it'll be like, oh, you changed. I didn't change. I just not going to allow you to keep on abusing the line that I set for myself, because I love you. I'm not going to allow you no more to control a narrative about who I should be anymore. It's not about me changing up. If you want to, I'm changing. Yeah, I am changing. I'm changing up on a positive end, because I deserve better within myself. So saying no is definitely important to your self love that you need to have within yourself, being okay with that. And sometimes individuals are not okay with that, but we have to be okay with saying no. We have to be okay with those healthy boundaries. We have to be okay with being self aware and having accountability to be okay with forgiving yourself along the way, when you came to that realization that maybe I've been you self sabotaging yourself this whole way. um Another issue, another tool that I use, um meditation, reflection. I mentioned that before, but I'm gonna hammer it right now. I can't get enough of just being in the moment for myself right now. I said before, a different podcast, I got two kids. I got two kids. I have many hats that I wear, many jobs and things that I actually do on a daily. It's a lot. And we probably say meditation. Who got time for that? You have to make time. Okay, you have to make time for meditation, because it's important to your self reflection. It's important to your growth. Day to day, we live our lives hectic, right? We're distracted, right? Of course, we don't have time. All right, we got this, we got that, we got so many different things. But meditation, self reflection don't take more than just 30 minutes. We do 30 minutes just being on our phones at lunch when we had lunch break. Okay. So if you can't do 30 minutes, I wasn't there yet in the beginning. Do 10 minutes. 10 minutes of breathing work. 15 minutes if you can push it. Once you're consistent in meditation, it won't feel like 30 minutes, because your body's going to experience something. When you open your eyes after you go through that, you're like, wow, 30 minutes up already. It takes you to a whole different realm. It takes you to the positive balance internally. It's internal growth, like nothing I ever seen before. As I get into my spiritual healing journey, meditation, when I experienced that, meditation is a great thing, because it allows you to tune into yourself. It allows you to be one. to be quiet and still. It allows you to really self-reflect some of the dynamics that goes on in this world. Um, breathing techniques, just being. Um, journaling is a meditation form mentally. If you just can't sit and you're fidgety, write. I write. I get fidgety sometimes, so I have to move around. I journal. I write. We have phones. Write in your It's nothing like writing an actual book, like an actual notepad. But we all have phones. Go to the app, type in there if you choose to, if that's what you prefer. You know, but do something that will get your thoughts out. When you breathe in and breathe out, it relaxes your body and you can push those negative thoughts out. Journal. Push those negative thoughts out. Reflect with those negative thoughts. See how you interact with those thoughts. Ask yourself, why is this coming up now for me? What is it about this day that had these feelings come up? Definitely understand what is stirring inside of you, because we do need that. Affirmations, selling into affirmations daily promote a healthy mindset because it gives away the distractions, it gives away the limiting beliefs, because you're starting to tell your brain to rewire itself. You're starting to tell your body, you know what, I want to embody this type of aspect about me. I want to embody this type of model when it comes to waking up, being grateful. Thank you for waking me up, because there's somebody who didn't wake up yesterday. Thank you for having me in this moment. Thank you for breaking my awareness to right now. Thank you, universe, for allowing me to experience. I'm grateful. I'm blessed. I'm nice. Start doing that, because when it comes, especially when it came down to me, and I'm sure other individuals as well would feel the same way. You with those negative beliefs, imposter syndrome, negative self talk, it can take hold of you, so you absolutely looking around the world or looking around your situation and start pulling those negative aspects. But when you come with a practice of mindfulness, accountability, clarity, resilience, relentlessness, when you come with that, when you meditate and internally, it starts pouring outwardly, externally. You start looking at things differently. Your perspective starting to change, because you're telling yourself, I want it to change. You're no longer looking at the negative aspects of your life, because now you're coming to a form of fulfillment, positive mindset now. So you're going to look at positive things, even when the world can be a disaster. What I teach my clients is look at the silver lining. Come from a place of fullness, wholeness, not a void or lack. And meditation definitely helps with that. It shifts your mind and your thoughts. And when it comes to shifting your mind and thoughts, outpours behavior. Your behavior starts to change when your mindset starts to change. So we have to come very in tune with ourselves so we can externally project it, right? So what I want to do now is just take a moment, to like and subscribe, what you hear today. Like and subscribe if you're really feeling it is resonating. Let me know in the comment section what kind of processes you use for self love. How do you gather yourself up in the midst of self doubt and insecurities? Let me know. I might take a few of those as well and implement in my daily lives. Let me know what you think about my comments and my suggestions as well when it comes down to self love. Are you going to be willing to implement some of those things? Let me know. Um, Also, before I end this video, I want to let you know that this is a part two coming up on self love, because I definitely want to give you more um, tips and tricks on now how to build it up more. I went through some of those, but there are more that I want to share with you guys. I'll probably do in a later video. If you would like to know more about those helpful tips and tricks, I definitely can do it. I did speak about it, but I can go in a little bit more. Let me know if you want to do another version of this with more helpful tips and tricks, because I got a lot of them with stories to boot. The other thing is, I want to let y'all know that I have a great opportunity for you guys to come on my podcast. Yes, you heard that right. I have a podcast. I would love for you guys to come to. You're going to be sitting down with me and at least a 10 to 15 minute session with me, a free session as well. If you have any questions or comments or concerns that you may have that I can possibly help you come to understanding with, come to terms with, give you some advice as well on specified needs that you may have. All right. If you want to know more about that, please visit my website, yahnesneed.com. That is YAHNESNEED.com. Inquire more about it. Send me an email through there. I can definitely set you up with coming on my podcast. It's going to be an amazing thing for you guys. Um, Definitely stay tuned to that. A link of my website will be in the description below. If you're interested in coming on my podcast, I would love for you to have you up there. I definitely do believe in my mission, one human at a time. So I'm definitely going to do my best with that mission, and I would love for y'all support to come up there. I don't know, we can probably can help me make the world go around. Who knows? But definitely, 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 if you would love to come up there and just share your advice on some of the stories that you heard that I have shared, or you just want to come on there just to speak about something, share your story. And you don't even have to ask a question. You can just share your story. I would love to hear it because more stories like mine and like yours would definitely make the world go around. And I would love to actually have you on. If you, I'll be honored. That's the thing I'm trying to say. I'll be honored to have you on, and you could definitely be part of my newsletter as well. That's the one thing I wanted to share. The second thing is I am selling Relentless Phoenix mugs. I am also selling Relentless Phoenix t-shirts. And as you know, I am an author. I have a novel out called Manifest Your Canvas. It is a self-help novel on Amazon that will speak a lot about the topics that I want to speak about in my podcast, including more helpful tips and tricks about emotional resilience, empowerment, relentlessness, how to build up your character, to face your adversities, and some of the steps that I use as well to overcome it. I'm going to have more of my stories that are in this novel that can definitely help you feel more connected to me. And also to yourself as well, so you won't have so much of a hardship to get over when it comes down to coming to terms with, you know, your life situation, or making it seem like it's an isolated event when it's not. So I definitely want to project that out there. If you would love some of that, the information more on that, how you can support, it definitely will be in the description below. These things that I am promoting out here is all going to, most of the proceeds of y'all support is going to go to my journal initiative. My journal initiative will be a self-help journal, not just a journal for writing, but also some of the tips and tricks that I'm speaking about in my podcast. Some like to read it, so I'm going to implement in that in my self-help journal. And it is going to also have my stories in there as well. These journals that I am creating, this journal initiative that I am creating, is going to go. My journals are going to go have free copies going to be sent out to high school students, and also in the maternity ward, which is two of my passions, helping high schoolers get over their adversities and really feeling like they have a purpose identity in this world. Because right now we're at a crisis where children do not understand what their purpose are, what they purpose. And I want to, with your support, help to identify their purpose by having them have a way to write their thoughts down. And when it comes to maternity ward, like I said, I had two children of my own. I had two C-sections. One was an emergency C-section because I got sick. The other one was a planned C-section. But during those both times, the theme that was around me was really much a lack of seeing my children when I was going through this emergency C-section, because I had to heal. And that process was long and excruciating to not have my children in my arms when I gave birth to them. And I know there are other maternity in the ward, in maternity ward. I know there are other mothers in the maternity ward that come from the same type of thing, that lack of just needing something to process. And I want them to process this journal, this to tell them that they have a friend in me, that they have someone that they can rely on when it comes to just being in that mindset of I need my children. Where are they? I hope they're okay. Especially when you're dealing with emergency C-section, is excruciating. Or when you have a planned pregnancy and then something went sideways, and now you're in the hospital room in the bed looking up at the ceiling with all your crazy thoughts. Having something to journal down would definitely help that aspect of when you just need to have a cry and you want to write it out. So I hope you guys support. It's definitely going to be amazing. Once my journal are up on Amazon, I will advertise that, so you can also purchase a copy and give it back to one of your loved ones for Christmas, or just in general, whoever is struggling to feel unstuck or have a lack of void to try to overcome the adversities. That will be the journal for them as well. So I do hope you like and subscribe and support me. This is going to be an amazing adventure for all of us, and I'm blessed to really have a podcast that I can illuminate some of these things and help with tools and tricks that can really promote a positive, healthy aspect of our daily lives and certain things